What's up, YouTube? This is NYG31 here. The Mets lose 8-10. I mean, Tal Miguel only lasted 2 innings. He didn't pitch well, but I only saw half of the game. I heard Pio Alonso ran out of line, so he was called out. Brandon Nimmo tried to stretch a single to a double. He was thrown out. This is how the Mets season gone on so far. Bullpen, both pitching staff was dreadful in this game. I mean, the Astros give up 8 runs. The Mets give up 10 runs, and I heard that the Mets had the bases loaded, and they could have hit a grand slam to seal the deal against the Astros. We could have won the series. This is like 10 or 9 consecutive series we lost. I don't know when this team is going to wake up, pitch well, and win a series. We got an old team, 35 years old, not younger than 26. It's terrible, man, because what Billy Eber really did in the trade deadline last year and the train and a month before, I think weeks before the trading deadline, deadline, this was a recipe of disaster. And what he did, trade Cole Harmon, who pitched well for us in the bullpen, give us an innings. This is the reason why we was winning series last year. And you gotta trade this guy for a bat, which you should have got a bat two off seasons ago, and even this off season. You did not dress the DH. You did not dress the designated hitter role. I mean, Volback is, he's starting to heat up, but he was trash throughout the whole Mets career. I don't even know if the Mets is going to have a winning streak or not. They just win one, lose two. I'm really tired of this. We need to win series. We need to manage well. We also need to make some good moves, not moves that think that will take us to the World Series. We're not. We are old team, old pitching staff, old position players. And Jeremy Hepper has been a disaster as a pitching coach. He was a disaster for the Mets pitcher a few years ago when he pitched for us. And he's a terrible player, and he's a terrible pitching coach. Buck Showalter have not managed this team well. Treating Mark Vientos like shit, man. And then send him to the minor leagues just because Pio Alonso came back at the end of the what series? The Pirates series. It is like I was saying, this is a recipe of disaster for the New York Mets. Recipe of disaster. Oh, let me quote that. He came back at the end of the Cardinals series, but still, this is a recipe of disaster. It's been a disastrous year for the New York Mets. Pitching wise, fielding wise, they can't field, they can't run the bases properly, they can't do the fundamentals like they did last year. This was a crisp, smart team last year that do the fundamentals the right way, pitch the right way, and catch the right way. But now, they're not doing none of those stuff the right way. It's terrible. This is all of Billy Epler. It's not because the players are failing, it's the managers that's failing. If you don't make good moves and put players in the position to win, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose, and you're going to have a losing season. And right now, the Mets is having a losing season. I want David Stearns to come here right now and clean up house. We have to clean up house now. We cannot allow Billy Epler to make any more trades in the trade deadline. You cannot keep him. You cannot keep Billy Epler towards the trade deadline. You got to get rid of him right now. and let David Stearns handle the general manager duties until they find a new general manager. Right now, David Stearns needs to come in right now. I need Stephen Cohen to hire David Stearns right now so he could fire Billy Appler. If you fire Billy Appler, that means you could take over the general manager role, and then next offseason you could find your new general manager. And what you could do, that new general manager could get rid of Buck Showalter and then hire his whole crew, including the front office. And the front office has to clean house too, because front office has been terrible, making bad moves, making bad scouting, you know. Then you had to send John Curtis down, who pitched well for us the last time. You had to send him down to make room for Howard or something, whatever his name is. But this is horrible. This is horrible. I'm very pissed how they scouted and how they managed this off season and how they make moves. Not signing Chris Bassett was a big deal. He pitched well for us last year. I mean, you could get rid of you could not sign Taijuan Walker, but letting Chris Bassett walk to go to the Blue Jays and he's pitching much better now. Man, I'm kind of disappointed that the Mets let him walk, man. How could you let Chris Bassett walk and pitch well for the Blue Jays? How could you do that? It's terrible. The front office, the general manager have to be on the same page. And I see this quote that Buck Showalter is not allowed to hire his own pitching coach. And then they're talking about Jeremy Heffer been there for years? Come on. What kind of shit is that? I saw it on one of the Baseball Hut's comments. Not one of Baseball Hut's comments, but I mean, I was watching one of Baseball Hut's videos, and I see a comment that Buck Showalter was not allowed to hire his own pitching coach, and Jeremy Heffer is a pitching coach. See, that is a recipe of freaking disaster. That's why the pitching ranks 25th in the league, because the ERA is terrible. The bullpen is in the middle of the pack because Jeremy Heffer does not know how to coach these pitchers. He doesn't know how to coach these pitchers. He don't know what he's doing. He was a terrible pitcher for us. He wasn't that good for us. And he's a terrible pitching coach for us too. It's terrible. If you're going to tell Buck Showalter not to hire his own pitching coach, that's another recipe of disaster too. Because you have to allow a manager to hire his own pitching coach. You can't tell your manager. You can't tell the manager you can't hire your pitching coach because that particular person is there for years. Come on. This got to stop. And I hope it's going to be dramatic changes because this pitching staff and this hitting staff has been terrible. Until then, this is NYG31 signing out.